Hello, everybody. Chef Marcus Guiliano here, and welcome to Chef on a Mission Radio. Chef on a Mission Radio, episode number 78. We're going to talk about greens today, lettuce, greens, spinach, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to give you a little buying tips and buying guide to that. I have a guest in the studio today. That is my dog, Barolo. He's right here. If you're watching on video, you can see him. He wants to jump in my lap right now. It's early in the morning that we're recording here. And he's been in the office with me for a few days. He's actually not really my dog per se. Was my parents' dog. My parents had passed away and left two border collies. It's the last one left. My daughter, he's my daughter's dog, but he's been staying with me because I miss him. He's my running buddy, and we go out in the trails together. And you've probably seen me around town with him, with the other one especially too, who we just had to put down. It was 18 years old. This last fall, and you've probably seen me on the trails or out on the streets with him. He run a lot with me. They both have. So he's just here visiting, spending a couple of nights here, and getting some quality time, him and I together. My daughter has a couple other dogs. But besides that, let's jump into this episode about greens and eating local. As you know, if you know my restaurant, Aroma Time Bistro up in Ellenville, New York, we are extremely dedicated to serving the best options we can possibly find, whether it's local, whether it's regional, whether it's organic, whether it's, wherever it's coming from. I try to really analyze the best products to bring in. And I like to share my knowledge. So if you've not been to my restaurant, check it out. Aroma Time, THYME Bistro, BISTRO. You can check us out on the web, Instagram, Facebook, all over the place. Just Google us. We are all around. So, and also VIP Winery Vacations. That is my travel business, my wine travel business, VIPWineryVacations.com. Also on Instagram. If you're watching, there's a logo behind right there on the screen. We take you to our friends' vineyards in Italy, Spain, New York State, and now via Guadalupe in Mexico. Go check that out, our Instagram. And here in the Hudson Valley, the division of the Hudson Valley here, we actually do designated drivers. So we can send a designated driver to you, to your location, to drive your car safely. Our insurance on your car or your rental car, it's our insurance. And we drive you safely around to vineyards, wineries, and breweries. All right, let's talk about greens. Or produce in general, but greens, because greens is a great example. When I mean greens, it means like spinach, arugula, mesclun mix, lettuces, things like that, especially the prepackaged lettuces in the store. A lot of people are very price conscious, and I understand why, because you want your dollar to go the farthest, but a lot of times you don't have enough information to make you purchase the right product. As a young chef, I was taught it's one thing to spend too much on a product, but it's a whole different thing to spend too little on a project. If you spend too little on a project, you risk on an ingredient, a product. You spend too little on a product, you risk losing the whole product. If you spend too much on a product, all you're losing is the differential price, which isn't much, right? So if something's $10, if you're in the store and you're shopping for something that's $10, and you see it for $11, and you see one for $8, and you jump on the one for $8, there's a reason why it's $8 and not $10, $11, or $12. And if you purchase that product at $8, especially in the seafood world, folks, in the seafood world, when you're buying fresh seafood for a restaurant, if you're buying something that has a short shelf life on it, you could risk losing everything. You could risk losing the whole $8 a pound and throw it out, as opposed to buying something that's $12 a pound and maybe only wasting the $2 differential from $10. The product's normally $10 a pound. So that's how this works across the board. It's just a universal rule of business. You pay too little, you can lose everything. Pay too much, well, you got to hopefully have a nice product, and you pay just a little too much, but you haven't lost. I'd rather lose $2 a pound than lose $8 a pound. Is the point of that. All right. So with that being said, a lot of people love to go to farmers markets, but they don't love to pay the farmers market prices. Because farmers market prices can be elevated at certain times, or what you think to be elevated, but maybe you just don't have enough information on the product itself, or the yield, or the nutritional differences, or really where that money is actually going to the local community instead of the big company in California or to Mexico or wherever. So I did a couple of Facebook Lives on this before because I was very concerned about this. As a chef, I'm very concerned about this. So if you go to the store right now to a Walmart or to a ShopRite or to Hannaford's, wherever you go to one of the big stores, and you pick up a 1 pound box of organic, certified organic lettuce, and then you go to the farmer's market and you pick up a box of or pound of certified organic lettuce, like spinach. Let's just use spinach for an example on both. If you go to the store to buy a pound of spinach and you go to the farmer's market to buy a pound of spinach, when you get home and put those two products next to each other, you probably would have paid $12 a pound for the farmer's market and $10 a pound for, I'm just throwing price out there, easy price so you can understand this. You probably paid $10 a pound in this big box store and $12 a pound at, or $13 a pound, maybe even more, who knows? Let's just say 12, because that's 20% more is probably realistic. Although that's not always the case. A lot of times you buy stuff at the farmer's market for a better price. So I'm just using an example because people like to say, well, the farmer's market's so expensive, eating local is so expensive, I really can't afford it. Or, why am I spending more money when I go to the store and buy organic greens instead of the farmer's market and buying organic greens there? So the farmer's market greens are typically picked that morning or the day before. The Walmart greens were picked 2 weeks before. Yes, 2 weeks before. Every package of greens, every package of produce, all those things that are labeled have codes on them where you can trace it back to the manufacturer and they can tell you when it was packed. Now, I did this because I was upset, really upset. I knew this happened. As a chef, I knew this happened. I just didn't realize what a big difference was happening. So when COVID hit and the pandemic hit, we opened up the items in our restaurant to be a grocery store so you can come in and buy. If you wanted to buy 2 pounds of organic sweet potatoes, we'd sell you 2 pounds of organic sweet potatoes. If you wanted to buy some cheddar cheese, we'd sell you, 2.5 pounds cheddar cheese, Reggiano cheese, grass-fed steaks, wild salmon, all that. We had everything. Everything we stocked, we sold, and we were selling it like crazy. And we were selling a lot of spinach greens. So they come in 2 pound bags or sometimes 4 pound bags. And it was easier for us just to hand you the 4 pound case. So here you go. Here you get a lot of spinach. Here's a 2 pounder or 1 pound, whatever. But sometimes people would want a pound and we didn't have a pound unit. So we'd have to weigh out on our certified metered scale. We'd have to weigh out the spinach. So I'd take the spinach, open it up, weigh it out, put it into a different package, and then weigh out the other side. And out of a 2 pound bag, I was only getting a pound and 12 ounces. I was 4 ounces short of 2 pounds. And I'm like, this is really making it tough for me to this isn't my real cost. I'm paying, again, throw a number out. I'm paying $10 a pound for this lettuce, but it's not the true cost of the spinach or the lettuce. It's not the true cost because now I've lost 4 ounces. I've lost, 10%, 15%, 12% of this product. So now it's really $11 a pound. I'm thinking, gee, how do stores make money doing this? This is why greens are typically prepackaged. The lettuces, the greens, the mesclun. You wouldn't go to a store and really weigh out. I've very, 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 very rarely seen this, where there's just leaf spinach there, not in a bunch. They smell, bunch is different, but just like loose baby leaf spinach or mesclun mix in a bin there, and you'd scoop it out and put it in your own bag. Because when they packaged that, it weighed 2 pounds. But when I got to my door, it was short 4 ounces through evaporation. So I knew this is happening. I didn't realize it was this much of a differential, like I said. So I called the company in Arizona and I said, what's going on here? Like I'm short weight here. And can I get the codes on the package? And I even spoke to the owner of the company. And she got on, she goes, okay, Marcus, let me explain this to you. Give me the codes off the bag. And she gave the codes, and I gave her the codes. She goes, okay, Marcus, this was packaged here 13 days ago. I said, 13 days ago? She goes, this was packaged here 13 days ago, which means it was picked 14, possibly 15 days ago. This was picked out of the field. So she said, it's just Jamie walking in here. So she said to me, she goes, you have to account for evaporation. The product's not as fresh as you think it is, arriving at you in New York. And I said, oh my gosh, I know now, but I just didn't realize how much. So folks, when you go to the farmer's market, you're buying a product that was picked that morning or that afternoon, or the day before. It has not had time to evaporate. You have no loss in the product. As long as that farmer is weighing it on a certified metered scale, which a lot of farms are set up to do that because they're in the trade business, that and their scales are inspected. They putting on a certified metered scale, and you're getting a product that is truly a pound. Now, there's so many more benefits beyond that that would support eating local and a price differential. But if you ever heard of this saying about going back to the weight, lobsters should be heavy for their size. Because what lobsters do is lobsters have a way when they're not eating, they start consuming their flesh. They start consuming their flesh inside, and that's how they get by. The same thing with salmon. So wild salmon, when they swim into the mouth of the river and swim up into the river to spawn, as soon as they hit the mouth of the river, they stop eating. When they stop eating, they have to eat their fat reserves. They live off their fat reserves. So the salmon meat starts deteriorating while the fish is alive and swimming. Same thing with shad. This is why they say shad is safe to eat. They say it's safe to eat out of the Hudson River, which we know is not something you go fishing down there and say, oh, I got dinner tonight. I caught this great fish from the Hudson. Even though people still do fish there, it's not something that you'd want to really consider doing often. So when the shad swims into the river, the shad stops eating. So the people who ever say shad is okay to eat, our USDA or FDA, whoever says this, they say, well, the shad hasn't eaten, so that shad hasn't absorbed any toxins. I'm like, well, gee, that makes sense. The shad's only living in the toxins, but since it's not eating, it's not absorbing. So it's bottom line is, point of this is lobsters, salmon, certain fish, they start eating themselves, and it's from inside, and the size of them looks deceptive. So lobsters are great like this. Lobsters need to be heavy for their size, not light for their size. It just means that they've eaten up more of their insides. And this is how this is always, it's been a saying for many years, as long as I've been an apprentice. So now the same thing goes for the lettuce and the greens, the mesclun mix, the spinaches. You're losing weight on those by buying a product that was purchased 14 days ago. Now, I'm not going to get into the nutritional benefits in depth here, but the added nutritional benefits of eating something local that is picked fresh, that is full of all the vitamins, the freshness, the enzymes, all that is a home run, and it's worth the extra $2 a pound to begin with. If you're eating this for your health, it's totally worth it. And the nice thing is you can develop a relationship with a farmer and understand and visit the farm and see what's going on and understand where your food's coming from and all that kind of stuff. So that's another benefit as well. And it's harder for a local farmer to really deceive you if they're asking you to come to their farm and take a look and see what's going on. So having relationships with farmers and going to farmers markets is fantastic. So supporting local does not cost as much as you think based upon losing weight in products like that. So keep that in mind when you are out buying produce, when you are out buying items, the freshness factor, the evaporation, and hopefully that helps you buy more local products and support a local farm wherever you are across the country. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I'm Chef Marcus Guiliano. This is Chef on a Mission Radio, and like it, download it, share it, and we'll talk to you soon.